The following program deals with a controversial subject. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Perfect.
Heyo, it's your friend Jeff here with another Unsolved Mysteries commentary episode. Tonight, it's going to be another one of those downers. With that said, like I said, there's cases that I just feel are going to be downers, and it's my job to talk about them. Well, it's my hobby to talk about them. Job makes it sound like I get paid for this, which I don't. With that said, to me, it's always sad when somebody commits suicide. To me, suicide is like the ultimate way out that a person can take because there's no coming back. And with that said, it really makes you wonder, how bad it must have been for that person to have committed suicide. Nobody should have to commit suicide. To me, they have family. That family is going to be grieving for a long time, and then the family wonders if they could have done something that could have helped in this situation. Well, tonight I'm going to be talking about the Dana Point Jane Doe. Just so you know, this is a very quick case from the Dennis Farina version of Unsolved Mysteries. I could not find it on the Robert Stack era of Unsolved Mysteries, so as it always was with Dennis Farina, they really cut it down to try to cram as many episodes as they could in each episode. So this case goes about 3.5 minutes, I think it is. And after that, as always, I'll be doing the wiki of this case. It really just, really makes me sad because I always like to think because late last year, around December, I had trouble, after I graduated from college, I could not find a job. And I will openly admit that it really did a number on me to the point that I actually felt like I was a failure. I was, tired of having my family, me relying on my family, and I honestly thought that this world would have been better off without me. And I was close to doing it a couple times this last year, and thankfully my family and my friends, they were able to help pull me back from that jumping off point. So watching this case, it really, pulls at me because I was in her place. Let's get started, shall we? Okay, let me just get this loaded up. Oh, and by the way, if it seems like that this case is like there was something else about this case, it's because this was actually the second part of an investigator special on Unsolved Mysteries. It's just that I couldn't find any information about the first part, so I just edited that out. I may visit it again when I can find information about it. This was the second part. So basically this video picks up like the midway point of that case. So that's why there's no opening like title card or anything like you would normally find at the beginning of each Unsolved Mysteries case. Okay, with that said, let's get this loaded. And 3, 2, 1, kick it.
But some cases remain unsolved, even after years of investigation.
A coroner is probably a good mixture of being a surgeon, a detective, and an attorney. Every day is a challenge.
You know, I always imagined, I think as every child did, that they when they were growing up or when they were little and they were growing up, they had the gambit of jobs that they wanted to do. You know, everything from police officer to firefighter to superhero, professional wrestler if you were in my shoes. The one thing I never thought about was coroner. I don't think anybody does, because that is such like a dark and gruesome job. I mean, unless you have that kind of mental strength to just work with dead bodies all the time, I don't think anybody can really have a straight mind when they do that, because I think ultimately seeing 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 dead bodies every year, depending on where you live, I think that's going to fuck up anybody, you know?
It's new all the time.
One case in particular continues to haunt Cullen Ellenberg. The body of a woman in her early 20s was found at the bottom of a steep cliff in Southern California.
What do you got?
The woman had apparently fallen to her death sometime during the night.
We weren't sure at that point if it was an accident or intentional or if she had been pushed.
And that's the way it always is. They always assume that it could be, you know, that they look at it from with a wide viewing lens, and then they soon after focus it and everything as they continue to investigate. It's just still, like I said, you know, just what went through this young lady's mind that led her to this outcome. I mean, I would like to think that no matter what, there's always a backdoor out of everything. You know, like I don't think that there is a point where you have to get off that jumping point. You know, I think there's always a way to get back from the breach. I honestly think that if there was more of a inner circle for this lady, that she may have been able to pull herself back. But that really goes to show, like, especially nowadays, how we've kind of drifted apart as a species. I mean, we spend more time hating each other, and I'm pretty sure if we spent as much time trying to make friends and trying to care for each other as we do hating each other and hurting each other, I think that this planet would be better off.
I went to the top of the cliff, and there I found a small purse, a half-consumed soda, and a map of Southern California.
Strangely, there was nothing else in her purse, but the map led Cullen to the last person who saw her alive.
Okay, that's the only thing that really, as I'm watching this right now, I just kind of started thinking about it. Why would she get rid of her identification? The only thing I can think is maybe she was just so mentally destroyed. She figured that'd be best if nobody even knew that she existed. So this is what she did. She got rid of all forms of identification as a way, or all forms of her identity, you know, her past life, you know, as one would say. She figures that nobody cared about her, possibly, then. She's just going to give them what they want. She was invisible to them. Well, she's going to become invisible and sadly end her life.
There was a phone number on the map. The phone number was that of a cab company. And the cab company was contacted, and they indicated they had a fare picked up from the area and dropped off at the area of the Dana Point Cliffs at about 3 or 4 that morning.
The cab driver described the Jane Doe who fell to her death at Dana Point.
You the lady called for a cab?
Yeah. Can you take me?
She wanted to go to Laguna Beach, but didn't have enough cash.
I only have 18.
The cab driver agreed to take her as far as the money would go.
Yeah, sure, get in the back.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not sure what it is. I think, honestly, that this cab driver should have been more empathetic to this lady. He should have been able to, I mean, he looks old enough to be able to pick up on signs that a person is giving. Hell, I know that this is an actress, but I mean, I could get the feeling if I was a taxi driver looking at this lady that something must have been wrong with her. The way she's acting, I could tell that she's in a dark place. And to be honest, if it was me and I was that driver, I would say, lady, how about we go get some help? Let's take you to the nearest hospital. And I would even offer to pay for the fare. You know, I'd be like, I'll take you to the hospital free of charge. I would not want to see her do something that she would ultimately regret for the rest of her short life. Nobody should have to go through this. And I'm hoping that by doing this one good act, if I was that taxi driver, I honestly hope that this would have been like that big bang moment, you know, for her, where she realize that she's sitting in the hospital, possibly looking out that window, thinking, "Oh God, somebody actually cared about me. Somebody actually cares about me. I don't need to hurt myself. Life, you know, this is just a real hard period in my life, but there are people there that care about me enough to try to get me help." I'm hoping that if I was that taxi driver, that this is, you know, the impact I could have on her.
The only thing the taxi driver said was that she had very little to say other than that. She was very quiet, and he didn't notice anything really unusual about her.
The meter says 18 bucks, ma'am. That's the best I can do.
Thank you.
Good night.
Goodbye.
And he didn't even do anything. This taxi driver. I mean, like, I know it's wrong of me to shit on a guy because it's not his job to basically, as many people would say, be a babysitter. But I'm pretty sure that if he was, you know, in a clock tower with a rifle about to pick off people, you know, seriously about to fuck his life up, I'm pretty sure that he would appreciate if somebody, you know, came up to him and go, "Hey, dude, life is hard right now. I understand that, but let's go take a breather. Let's possibly go to a restaurant and get something to eat, and we could talk about this." The reason I think I'm so empathetic to people like this is because in my job I deal with a lot of children, and these children they make mistakes. You know, they make mistakes, and they don't know how to cope and how to do what's right, you know. So, like, example, yesterday, I was on the playground with the children, and this one child, he was having problems, and he looked like he was wanting to hurt this girl because she wanted to play with some of the toys that he was playing with. I could pick up that he was in a bad place at that moment. I walk over, and, you know, I kind of snap him out of it. I go, "Hey, buddy, I see you're having problems. Let's go talk. Let's go have a walk, and we can just talk. Let's just talk and help you decompress, you know." And he actually walked with me, and he talked for at least 10 minutes, just talking about how he's having problems, how, you know, he feels like it's not fair at home because he's, you know, not to give out too much information, he's a foster child. And he says that it's hard for him, you know, because he's gone from home to home to home to home, and he's basically just tired, and he wants friends, but he doesn't know how to, you know, go about it, because every time he's made friends, that he's had to leave and everything, and he's just unable to interact normally with people. And I get that pleasure of feeling like, hey, I did something good. I helped this child, So that's why I look at situations like this, and I just can't help but think maybe if somebody was there to help her, even like if I was there, I would be on if I was on the cliff with her, I'd sit down, I'd say, hey, just let's have a seat, sit down please, and we could just talk, and if we talk for 5 minutes, fine. If we talk for 5 hours until the sun comes up, hey, that's great. At least I was able to help her get past this one hurdle. And once I could tell she's at least in a better place for this moment, I would say, hey, I know some friends at the hospital. How about you and me go? Or I know some friends who work on the crisis line. Let's go have a talk with them, and I will stay in the room with you if you want, but I'll be quiet, and you can just talk and talk and talk like I did when crisis came and talked to me. I mean, I talked for at least 45 minutes after somebody came and talk to me to get help me. But I just think that this cab driver could have done a lot more. He should have been able to tell that something was wrong with her. And sad, it was just sad sometimes we just lack that human empathy.
The next morning, the young woman's body was found at the base of the cliff. She was 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed 127 pounds. She had light brown hair, brown eyes, and was wearing what appeared to be secondhand clothing, including a pair of men's underwear.
Okay, now a lot of people are like, why would she be wearing men's underwear? It's a known fact. As much as people don't want to admit it, men's clothing does cost significantly less for female, than female clothing does. So I can understand, maybe she's already having a hard life. As they said, she had secondhand clothing on. I wouldn't be shocked if she, just to save a few extra bucks, she bought men's underwear, relatively the same size, and you save $5, $6, $7 or however much it is. There are people who work in the slaughterhouse that I told you about a while ago where I used to work. The ladies actually wear men's clothing because it's cheaper. They don't mind. They're working in a big block building with no windows, and they're all covered up anyway with smocks and hair nets and everything. So they don't care what they're wearing because nobody sees. And they wear what they need to at work, and then when they get home they take a shower and they change into something that they feel more comfortable in. So the fact that this poor lady, she had men's underwear on, does not surprise me. It's sadly the time, even though it wasn't so much like this back in '87 when this happened, nowadays I would not be shocked to find ladies wearing men's clothing.
This is the first Jane Doe that I've had that I was unable to identify, and I've continued to work this case to today, and occasionally a new lead will come in and I'll follow up, but all to this date have been unsuccessful. There isn't a week that I don't go by the point without thinking about this lady. I want to identify her and find out who she is and who she belongs to.
If you have any information that can help identify this woman, please log on to our website at unsolved.com.
Okay, I can't help but, feel like, wonder how this poor detective feels. Sounds like he had a good record of getting these cases solved. And then comes this one case where, he just can't solve it. And I'm pretty sure it does, the police always say that they try to practice, detachment and stuff from their cases. That way it doesn't bother them and stuff. But as you heard here, it does, ultimately it does play a number, on them, As he said, he walks by Dana Point at least once a week, I think he said, and he just wonders, what was going through her head, what was she thinking, was there anyone there with her, where's her family, are they worried? Okay, well, that is the end of this case. Now we are on the portion of the show where we go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, and we do, I do a little bit of investigating and see if there's anything new. And I've already covered this case before back on my final thought version of this, but that was when I was just using still images. So I already know what happened, but to those who never heard of this case, this may be something new for you. Okay, so this is the 1997 Jane Doe. Her real name was unknown at the time of broadcast. The case was unidentified remains. The date was September 20th, 1987, and the location was Dana Point, California. As of the show, they that the time of that case was made, they thought she was born around 1967. Her height was 5'8", so she was basically the same height I was. I'm a short person. The weight was 127 pounds. The characteristics was she was a Caucasian male, light brown hair, brown eyes. She was apparently wearing secondhand clothing. Okay, we already know the details. Extra notes. This case was featured on as a part of the January 20th, 1995 episode about coroners, including Colin Ellenberg, and two other identified person cases featured were a 1990 Jane Doe case from Huntington Beach, California, and oh, here it is. This may be it. Hold on, let me just check. Let me see if this is it, because I may. No, that's not it. Okay, let's try this one. The 19. No, it was a boy though. I thought 1990 Jane Doe. Okay, well that wasn't it. Okay, well anyway, Okay, I already did the extra notes. Results solved. The case was officially ruled a suicide several years later. In 2015, high school friends of Holly Glynn began searching for her. They were unable to locate her through social media, so they contacted her family and discovered that she had not been heard from since September of 1987. Her friends soon learned of Dana Point Jane Doe and found that they looked very similar to Holly and matched her description. Holly's family submitted DNA samples to be compared with the Jane Doe in May of 2015. It was announced that Holly had been identified as the Dana Point Jane Doe. Okay. Let's see here. Holly Joe Glynn. Wait. Yeah, okay. Okay, here is... Now, this is something new because I don't honestly recall this when I did the final thought and Unsolved Mysteries. I may be wrong though, but let's continue. Good. She didn't get to get past her 21st, year. That's pretty sad. Okay, Holly Joe, also known as Dana Point Jane Doe Glynn. Her date of birth was September 11th of 1966. Her date of death was September 20th, 1987. She was age 21. She died at Dana Point, Orange County, California, USA. Her burial was she was cremated with ashes scattered at sea. It's sad, really. Just that people that we feel like ultimately to end our life is the only way out, and that's sad because I would like to think, even though I try to commit suicide, and so there are times that it is hard. There are still times that I want it off my life because right now work is still not going great. I do have a job and I'm grateful for that, but there are still times that it is hard to be working as hard as you can and not feeling like you're being recognized, or your boss is constantly just really ragging on you. The boss, they don't your superiors don't at work, they don't realize that you're a human being. They just see you as another part of the machine. and they don't realize that maybe this person, this part of the machine, that they're struggling, and that person may be able to look like that they're doing okay, but when they're either in the bathroom by themselves or they're on the way home, they start breaking down because of the stress that they're constantly over and going through and stuff. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the photos here. Well, these are some nice, these are some, you don't really see many variety of pictures of a person. Normally it's like one picture of a person and their tombstone, but the people that must have really cared about Holly to have 4 pictures of her. And she looks like a lady who was very nice. It's just sad that us as a society kind of let her down. Okay. Okay, let's check out the flowers. Yeah. A lot of it's just, just people leaving their well wishes. Like I said, I can't help but wonder that if I could, if I lived in that area and, coincidentally I may have been walking by Dana Point. I don't know why I'd be walking by Dana Point at that late at night, but if I was and I saw this lady and she was just looking at the cliff like this is the only answer she has, I would like to think as a person that maybe I would like to walk over to her and go, hey, let's just talk. I see you're having problems. Let's talk. And maybe by just doing that simple act of kindness, it could actually help steer her back on the path to being, to just wanting to live. Okay, well, that was it for this case. Like I said, this was a pretty quick episode. As always, let me switch it over to this. Oh, wait, wrong one. Okay, back to this. Oh no. Oh no, what? Oh, please don't. Oh. Okay, I'm hoping that did not kick that on. Okay, I'm hoping that the credits may have started up anyway. But as always, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like what you watched, please leave a thumbs up. If you're new to my videos and you would like to receive more updates and everything, feel free to click on subscribe. I will make a note, I do not get paid for these videos. These are all non-monetized. So basically, people subscribing is like payment to me for doing a good job. If you subscribe and you would like to be alerted when I release new videos, feel free to click on the bell icon. As always, if you're watching this on Facebook and you would like to be alerted to when I release these videos on Facebook, feel free to click on the follow icon along with the thumbs up. As I said, to me, subscriptions mean more to subscriptions and people, or subscribers and people clicking on follow. That means a lot more to me than money does, because it means that people like the message I'm trying to get out about these cases. If you have comments that you would like to leave below, go ahead. I would like to, see the comments that people have to say. I think maybe actually after I get done doing this video, I think I may actually do a special where I look at some of these comments that people have left, and just give my thoughts and replies and stuff. But as always, my name is Jeff, and I'm wishing you all a safe day, safe night, safe morning whenever you're watching this. And make sure that if there's somebody in your life that you feel that may be slipping, just talk to them. It's amazing what a good shoulder to cry on and a good ear to listen to will do for a person. So until next time, my name is Jeff, wishing you all a good night. Good night, everyone.